在过去一周，美国财经新闻的主流媒体高度关注的焦点，就都是美国债务上限是否能够到准时提升，美国债务评级是否会遭到调降，而美国联邦储备局对这个问题的沉默的态度，以及美国财政部是否在最坏的情况出现之后，有后续计划能够合理的安排紧急支付项目的顺序，以最大限度的减少对经济与金融系统造成的损失等等问题，都成了华尔街与相关经济与金融机构高度关注的焦点。从现金市场，也就是 money market 以及美债信用违约互换合约 CDS 的交易量以及交易金额上升的现象，都可以看得出来国际金融市场的紧张形态。然而事实上，美国债务如果果真被降级，对谁的影响最大呢？美国经济基本面与债务上限基本上有多大的直接连带关系？而这次美债级别所面临的问题是经济基本面的健康状况的问题，还是美债作为国际市场上安全避风港的信誉问题？果真失去了这个信誉，对美国今后的借贷能力以及对国际的信用市场的交往又都造成什么样的影响呢？就这些问题，我们今天继续请来了超越全球公司的 CEO 行政总裁 Sandra Navidi 女士。以下就是我们的讨论。
China lately speak out loud many times to warn U.S. government has to be responsible for their investors. No matter what outcome is going to happen, what is your advice to foreign governments like China? They have so much in one kind of investment. Of course, they have other investment, but this is their major holding.
Even if the debt ceiling is going to be raised, there's still the underlying problem of debt and printing money, quantitative easing. So yes, the holdings are probably going to lose in value. Therefore, the advice would be to diversify their holdings, diversify it into other asset classes, specifically commodities and other currencies. Now, two problems. They can't allocate that much money into currencies because, say, they put it into gold or some energy investments. The market is small. You would see a sudden rise that would make it more expensive. So that's a problem. And then with regard to other currencies, the renminbi is a restricted currency, so there's not that much flexibility.
And also there are not very many other choices, like European debt is still a problem.
Yeah.
They're trying to diversify to euro. Maybe that's not a safe bet either.
Even if the eurozone breaks apart, if people drop out of the euro, the tendency could be that it rises in value because there are some countries, strong countries, still behind it. But I think there is no magic formula. It's going to be hard, and so you need to diversify in as many asset classes and currencies as possible.
U.S. economy, in comparison with the rest of the world, still is very stable. People looking at the second half of the year still believe Federal Reserve's projection of the second half of the year's economic growth is going to be steadily progress getting faster. And also U.S. companies' earnings looks like second quarter is not too bad, and down the road the third and fourth quarter is getting worse. I don't think the debt problem really has strong impact to U.S. economy. So as long as the country's economy is good, why worry about the debt?
I probably wouldn't fully agree with that. I think there are real issues, and one of them is job creation. So we are not creating enough jobs to make up for the jobs that were lost during the crisis. So we're still behind, and regardless of official numbers, the real unemployment numbers are probably more going up of 15%. So it's quite dramatic. The reason why companies have been doing well is because in the course of the crisis, they slashed expenses, they let off people, they've become more efficient. So they have a lot of cash on their balance sheets. So that, yes, they are doing okay, but only up to a certain point. And there are people in the government who fear a double dip, another recession, in which case probably a QE3 might be triggered, especially in view of the upcoming elections. So I don't think it's such a rosy picture. And you see, I mean, yes, the U.S. always used to be a beacon for stability. But with the debt crisis, it becomes obvious that that's not the case anymore.
The employment market and the maybe double dip is on the road. We also may think about the real estate market is another problem. I still don't see anything directly connected with the debt problem.
But you see how shaky the U.S. economy is. If the debt limit weren't raised, then there could be a panic and the financial markets could break down, and then that would be reflected in the real economy.
That means we need to borrow more money. So the economy will be good.
Well, yes, that is the problem. We actually need to lower our debts. That means spending cuts. That's bad for the economy. That's the root of the problem.
And if they start to cut spending, raise tax to increase government income to get that problem reduced, that will hurt economic growth too. So right now, the debt problem should not be a major focus. We should focus on economic growth.
We absolutely have to focus on growth here and also in Europe. Europe is, it's a catastrophe, really. The lack of competitiveness, for instance, of Greece, that's a fundamental issue. Even if you took all the debt away, it would be a huge problem for them. And it's not just Greece, it's several other countries. And the problem in Europe versus the U.S. is that here we have at least one government. Yes, it seems to be very hard to come to agreements, but if you put pressure on them, at least they can. In Europe, it's a much more long-winding process to come to an agreement because you have all these finance ministers and government officials, other competencies. It's very, very hard to come to an agreement in a timely manner.
Interesting thing is we pay so much attention. Everybody pays attention to U.S. debt. The downgrade will jeopardize the confidence. I think the confidence actually is a major issue rather than the fundamental growth.
I think that's why the market has been volatile, but it's been quiet, right? Just before something majorly bad can happen, and I think that's because the U.S. did make policy, the financial policy. It was the guarantor of strength, and people cannot imagine if that were to change overnight, what would happen and who would take the U.S.'s place. And yes, it could be a development conceivably that could take place over time, that for instance China becomes stronger and other countries in Asia, and over time the U.S. would lose power, so people can get used to it. But that this happens overnight, I mean, I think people are at a loss.
I agree with you. I think Lehman's crisis is also a major part of the confidence. People just lose the confidence to the credibility of the financial system. So if the U.S. debt situation, they're being downgraded, people will lose confidence for the most safe, secure investment, and that's bad.
I think that has already happened. I think people, yes, when everything else breaks down, people look around and they take refuge to the dollar and to gold. But I think fundamentally people don't see the dollar anymore as a safe haven, and they don't see the U.S. as a safe haven or treasuries, not to the extent that it used to be.